People always say that money changes you, but that is a complete lie. Money doesn't change anyone. It just acts as a massive magnifying glass, revealing exactly who people were all along. My name is Maya, and for 26 years, I was the undisputed disappointment of my family. And I am not exaggerating. While my older sister Olivia went to law school and married a corporate banker, I was the struggling freelance graphic designer who wore thrift store clothes and lived in a tiny, leaking apartment on the bad side of town. My parents never missed an opportunity to remind me of my place. At every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, and every family barbecue, I was the punchline. Oh, look, Maya bought store-brand potato chips again, my mom would say loudly to her friends. Maybe if she got a real job, she wouldn't have to count pennies. They treated me like a peasant who was allowed to sit at the royal table out of pure charity, but there was one person in the family who didn't care about status, my grandfather, Arthur. Excuse me. Granddad Arthur was the black sheep of his generation, just like I was. Everyone thought he was a crazy old man living in a rundown cabin in the woods, entirely broke. When he was diagnosed with terminal cancer 3 years ago, my parents and Olivia visited him exactly. Once. Just once. They complained about the smell of his house, complained that he didn't have Wi-Fi, and then they completely abandoned him. So I stepped up. I moved out of my apartment and spent the last 8 months of his life sleeping on an uncomfortable cot next to his bed. I cooked his meals, managed his medications, and held his hand when the pain got too bad. My family called me an idiot. Olivia actually texted me saying, "You are wasting your time, Maya. The old man is broke. You aren't getting a payout." I didn't care. I loved him. When Granddad finally passed away, the family didn't even want to pay for a proper funeral. I paid for his cremation with my own credit card. A week later, we were all called to a lawyer's office in the city. My parents rolled their eyes, assuming Arthur had left behind unpaid debts that they would have to deal with. Shh. The lawyer sat us down, opened a thick folder, and cleared his throat. He announced that Arthur's rundown cabin was sitting on 50 acres of prime commercial real estate that developers had been trying to buy for a decade. He had sold it quietly a year before he died. My parents suddenly sat up straight. Olivia's eyes widened. The lawyer continued. Arthur had left a total estate valued at $4.2 million. My mom started crying fake tears, suddenly talking about how much she missed him. My dad was already calculating how to buy a new boat. But then the lawyer read the next line. To my daughter and my eldest granddaughter, Olivia, I leave exactly $1 each, so you cannot contest this will. To my youngest granddaughter, Maya, who showed me what true unconditional love is, I leave the entirety of my remaining estate, all liquid assets, and my private trust. You should have seen their faces. The blood completely drained from Olivia's cheeks. My dad started screaming, threatening to sue the lawyer, sue the estate, and sue me. They claimed I manipulated him, but the judge threw their case out entirely. The money was legally and securely mine. But here's where my revenge actually started. After the lawsuit failed, they suddenly changed their tune. My mom started calling me every day. Maya, sweetie, you know we were just emotional. We're family. Olivia invited me to expensive lunches, expecting me to pay, but I made a very specific decision. I didn't touch the money. I kept living in my cheap apartment. I kept driving my rusty 2010 Honda. When they asked for loans, I told them my money was locked in a trust and I couldn't access a single penny for 10 years. They believed it. And because they thought I was still useless to them, their true colors came right back. Within 2 months, they were back to insulting me. Olivia hosted a massive New Year's Eve party at a luxury hotel and literally told the bouncer not to let me in because my outfit would embarrass her husband's wealthy clients. I went back to being the family peasant, but what they didn't know was that I was quietly watching them dig their own graves. See, assuming they were going to get a piece of my inheritance eventually, my parents had taken out a massive second mortgage on their house to fund Olivia's husband's risky tech startup. They thought they were going to be billionaires. But 6 months ago, the tech market crashed. The startup completely imploded. Olivia's husband filed for bankruptcy, leaving my parents holding a massive unpaid debt of $600,000. The bank sent the foreclosure notice. They had 30 days to come up with the cash, or they would lose the family home they had lived in for 30 years. Did they come to me respectfully? No. My dad called me screaming. He demanded that I go to the trust lawyer, break the trust, take the penalty fees, and give him the money. He literally said, "You owe us for raising you. Sell your car, max out your credit cards, do whatever it takes. We are not losing our house because you were being stubborn." Shh. I stayed perfectly calm. I told them to meet me at a specific address on Sunday afternoon to discuss the paperwork. I gave them an address in the most exclusive gated neighborhood in the entire state. When they pulled up in their car, I was standing in the driveway of a beautiful, custom-built $2.5 million modern estate. Olivia's jaw was literally on the floor. My mom ran up to me, her eyes sparkling. "Maya, did the trust buy this for you?" "Oh my God, there is plenty of room for us to move in while we fix our house." I looked at them. I took a sip of my coffee. "Actually," I said, "there is no trust lock. I've had access to the $4 million this entire time." The silence was deafening. My dad turned red. "What?" Then why didn't you give us the money? Because, I said, looking right into Olivia's eyes, you banned me from your party because my clothes were too cheap. You sued me for taking care of a dying man. You mocked me for my entire existence. You only want me when you can use me. Ugh. My mom started crying, real tears this time. Maya, please, we are going to be homeless. We will lose everything. I know, I replied, stepping back toward my massive front door. I guess you'll just have to learn how to buy store-brand potato chips. Get off my property before I call the security guards. I closed the giant oak door right in their faces. Through the window, I watched them scream at each other in the driveway before security escorted them out of the neighborhood. They lost the house. Olivia's husband left her because the money dried up. My parents are currently renting a tiny 2-bedroom apartment on the bad side of town, ironically, right down the street from my old place. They tell everyone who will listen that I'm a monster who destroyed the family. But every time I sit by my private pool and watch the sunset, I realize something. I didn't destroy our family. Their own greed did. Sometimes the best revenge isn't doing anything to your enemies at all. It's just sitting back, protecting your peace, and watching them absolutely ruin themselves. What do you guys think? Should I have helped them out, or did they get exactly the karma they deserved? Let me know in the comments down below, and if the story made you smile, hit that subscribe button for more.